8 hurdles, 300 meters, no room to slow down. The 300-meter hurdles is a very challenging track event just because of how unique it is. It takes knowledge and practice to run effectively. In this speech, we're going to talk about why it's so hard, how to run it correctly, and then some ways that you can practice. So it's very hard for the first reason because it's a highly technical event. Biometrics of world-class men and women hurdlers says that you have to contort your body in the air, and you have to have perfect stride length, arm and leg angles, and you have to control your center of mass to be able to go over the hurdles with good form. And if you don't have good form, you're going to lose speed, and you don't want to lose speed because it's a race. Another reason that it's hard is because it's not just a sprint. The National Institutes of Health quantifying metabolic energy contributes in sprint running did a study, and they found that the lactic acid threshold for a sprint is around 200 meters. So that means that you can't run more than 200 meters without your body getting tired and slowing down when you're like dead sprinting. So you have to, and when your body gets tired, your form's going to break down over the hurdles, and then you're not going to have the perfect form to not lose your speed. And so you have to be able to pace, but it's still like a sprinting race. So how do you pace it? A 5-phase model for the 300-meter hurdles found that there are like 5 main areas. So there's the acceleration, the backstretch, the curve, the home stretch, and the finish. So in the acceleration, you want to push out of your blocks and go out really fast, but you don't want to reach your top speed. In the backstretch, you want to focus on going over the hurdles with good form, but you don't want to be all out sprinting. And then as you reach the curve, you want to maintain that. You want to stay in what's called a float state, where you're not at full speed, but you're not losing speed. You want to like maintain. And then as you get to the end of the curve and you reach the home stretch, you want to start pushing and kicking so that you can build up to your top speed, but you still want to make sure you're going over the hurdles with good form. And then as you get to the finish, it's all about going over that last hurdle with perfect form. So because all of your momentum's carrying you, and you just need to get through that last one. So the biomechanics of hurdling, force plate analysis found that it's better to go over the hurdles with good form than to be fast between them, because you'll lose more speed if you're like high over it and you have like the arc over the hurdle versus if you're just like low and across. So when I do the 300-meter hurdles for my track event, and I always went out really hard and tried to just sprint as fast as I could, and it always made my times bad. But since then, I've been able to practice and work on pacing. And so the ways that I pace and to work on the practice is you start with a low amount of distance, and then you add hurdles and add distance as you go up in your workout. So you start with like 200 meters, put up all the hurdles, and then you can go to 300 meters and do like the first 200, and then you can do like the last 200 with the hurdles, and then you do all of them you do the whole 300 with the hurdles. And then you can move on to the 400 hurdles, or the 400-meter distance, and then you put up like the first 300 with the hurdles, the last 300 with the hurdles, and then all of it with the hurdles. The 400 is what really helps you get helps you pace and be able to hold your form and have the stamina to be able to run the race fast. So in conclusion, the 300 hurdles is one of the hardest events in track just because of how unique it is. You have to sprint, but you also have to pace it because it's farther than the lactic acid threshold. It requires good hurdle form, not to slow down and to maintain your speed, but it also has a very customizable way that you can work out. So from the beginning to the end, every step is a fight to maintain speed and to survive. Thank you.
Nice, that was good. Taking that.